can't believe it's the morning.
And
We've
which
never
morning
recorded.
is it?
It's this morning. Na, 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 na.
This would be like our Saturday morning show. This would be like Live and Kicking.
Yeah.
You'd be Zoe Ball, Gary Theakston, and I'm Trev and/or Simon.
Gary's Gary the Gopher, surely.
Yeah, the Gopher,
Ball's
sure.
the Gopher.
No, Gary the Gopher.
Yeah, by the way, in related Gary news, Sainsbury's have brought out a new vegan cheese called Gary. Absolutely true. The number of people that tweeted and Facebooked me yesterday saying, "Hey, look at this, they named a cheese after you."
So I could technically have Gary on toast.
You could.
Melted Gary. That's like you
I don't want
at the beach, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Melted Gary.
The only thing I don't want is a Gary sandwich.
Oh.
Luke.
Hey everybody, here's our star.
Gary.
I'd never heard of him before today.
And Matt.
He's a professional.
Talking telly.
Try it. Just for 1 week. Just try the program for 1 week.
This is the Custard TV Podcast.
Oh.
You know, you hear my voice on a weekly basis, guys.
Yeah.
I know you know how old I am, but how young do you think I sound?
48.
Well, I'm trying to pick the logic out of that. So, you know how old I am, but how young do I sound?
This is leading up to an anecdote.
I think you sound younger than your years.
Okay.
So I say that. You sound about 5 or 6 years younger than you actually are.
Okay.
Oh, I don't think so. I think he sounds like somebody from a mining town.
The point of this is that I went to a Hungry Horse pub last Sunday, was waiting for friends, ordered a drink, and the guy asked for some ID. And I was like, no, I haven't got any ID on me, because I'm thinking, I'm 33. When was the last time I got ID'd? And he said, oh, I'm sorry, you sounded young.
You sounded
Was he not looking at you the whole time?
He sort of, I wasn't really looking at you. Now I've looked at you, I know you look old.
No, what you don't know, Gary, is that Matt and I have met a couple of times. He's got the voice of a 40-year-old, but the hands of a toddler.
The guy just said to me, oh, I didn't look at you properly the first time. You sounded young.
That's a compliment, I think.
Although he's sort of challenged 25 now, so your
sort
of assertion that I sound about 6 years younger. Six is a very specific number.
I love that. He's not about 3 or 4 years older.
People will go like 5 or 10, but 6.
Can I say that I have never been asked for ID in my life? I was 6'3" at 13. I went drinking at 17 and never ever got asked for ID.
I looked 15 till I was about 22. So.
You don't sound tall though, Gary.
You're quite sort of broad-shouldered like you are now.
No.
You'd have to be to keep coming back on the podcast every week.
I broke or very badly sprained my ankle when I was about 14, and that's where the weight came up. I was always, my dad's I've got a cousin who's 6'9".
But when you were 17, you looked like old enough.
Oh yeah, I looked older. Yeah, the beard helped.
TV news, reviews, and previews. This is what we do here at the Custard TV Podcast. Have I even done the hits? I haven't, have I? I just
you were too tired to do the hits.
You just
can't do it first thing.
And then me and Matt were sitting back going, what intro is this?
This might be the podcast where my voice breaks if I do the hits, and then I'll I'll sound a little bit older. Okay, so some reviews, some news, and some previews and pick of the week, and the return of Gary versus Luke, which has less of a ring, but I always like a good quiz. Matt LeBlanc of Friends and Top Gear will be back to host Top Gear full-time after the departure of Chris Evans. I have to say I didn't stick with it. Nobody in my family stuck with it. I didn't think he had a great on-screen presence.
I read that a lot of people did like him, and the other two guys who were hosting it with him are the BBC Three presenters. Who got praise in the reviews that I read about it. They were the two that apparently
I read as well that
the passion about cars and stuff.
The Voice is to return this time on ITV. We knew this. We now know who will be coaching the devil out of the contestants on The Voice, so they don't get a #1 single or album. Will.i.am's back. Nah. Tom Jones is back after. Did he have 1 year off or 2?
Can you do a good Tom Jones? Do a Tom Jones, Gary? Because I know you do a good Tom Jones impression.
Yeah!
That's good.
It's like Rob Brydon's in the room.
If that doesn't wake you up, nothing will.
Yeah. In fact, that's going to be my new text alert.
Yeah. It should be, shouldn't it? Or your alarm in the morning. Just that over and over again.
Yeah! Yeah! Yeah!
That would get me out of bed dead quick.
Yeah!
American Idol and movie star Jennifer Hudson's going to be on the
Oscar
panel
winner.
as well.
Oscar winner.
And who remembers Bush?
Yeah,
Not the former president.
I do.
But
I
do you genuinely?
Yeah, I owned at least 2 Bush albums when I was growing up. Better known in this country for being married to
Barney.
Gwen.
Who is a coach on the US one?
Yeah,
Molding it.
yeah. I'm not sure if they're still together. I think
No, they're not.
They're not.
Because
In other news, Fatboy Slim and Zoe Ball aren't together anymore if you're doing a marriage part of the podcast.
and Brangelina.
Let's do a podcast on that.
Could do. Probably get more downloads.
And that's sort of...
Matt, walk us through Reviewland.
Hello. Let us start with...
Start on
Luke,
something light.
something
There's nothing
light.
there.
Strictly then, maybe.
Oh,
That's
Yeah.
light.
damn it.
Friday and Saturday, they did that silly thing where they split it over 2 nights. I'm not quite sure why they did the Friday night, because the ones that were on the Friday night weren't the ones that really anyone wanted to see. You have people like Naga
Well, I think
Muschetti
I know why they. I'll know why
and
they
Laura Whitmore. Why did they do it?
did. Judge
Gary.
Rinder.
At the time, you didn't know he would be as noteworthy as he was. On the list of people you wanted to see at the top of it were like Will Yard.
Oh, okay.
The only
Yeah.
one who people might want to have seen then was
Leslie
Leslie
Joseph.
Joseph, because she was like the oldest female contestant they've had on. On the Saturday show, they had that massive dance number with the professionals and, you know, the kids and things
Yeah,
like
the
that.
Friday night did feel a bit emptier, and as you say, they kind of did the whole thing again. You know, the judges come out, all the contestants come out on the Saturday, so kind of like the Friday. But as I say, the talking point of Friday was Mr. Rinder. But it also meant that this week feels like it's going to be like tonight's show. We're recording on a Saturday. Is going to be flipping long. All of the contestants have got to dance again.
That's always the way, though. The top of the leaderboard was Daisy Lowe, oddly, the model.
I think that was that good from a.
I thought
didn't
it was
enjoy,
all right.
I wasn't as entertained as I was by others.
And
I
Daisy
think-
Lowe, do we know the connection to the voice there?
No, go on.
Gavin Rosdale's daughter.
Really?
You're joking.
Oh, I didn't know that. Was
I
she the
didn't know
one
that.
that he found out about? Because he had a daughter that he didn't know about.
I don't know, this is turning into Jeremy Kyle. That's what happens when you do morning... but
When
no,
are you going to
she's
produce the
his daughter.
DNA evidence?
I I just remember that. No, the reason I know this is because it was in an episode of Gilmore Girls. They talked about it anyway.
Oh, for God's sake,
But
Matt.
the people who everyone thought would do well did well. Louise did really well, and Will
Yeah.
Young did really well. I quite liked Tamika Epson from EastEnders. She did a decent Paso Doble, although it felt like she was in command, and it should be the other way around in the Paso Doble.
You know who surprised me?
Who surprised you?
Melvin O'Doom. Is that
Even
the guy's
though
name?
he was like right at the bottom, almost right at the bottom of the leaderboard, and Paul
Yeah,
probably...
but I actually thought he did okay. I know the judges
I
didn't
think he'll
score
be
it
the
particularly
first
well.
out, if I'm honest.
Really?
But I just think Melvin's one of these that isn't particularly well known, isn't particularly a great dancer. The judges sort
I
of
thought
gave
he-
him. He didn't do well, Gary. He was like he did a was it a salsa or a cha-cha, and he didn't do the hip movement as much as you should. Are you ready to touch on something a bit more sort of? If you go National Treasure,
Unlight.
This was the second episode. Luke, do you want to lead us through this? Because I've seen 2 and 3, and I'm worried that
Yeah,
I will
you're
go to
confused
3.
about number 2. Alright, so number 2 focused more on the daughter of the couple, Andrea
D.
Riseborough's Danielle, or D.
D.
Focused more on her, and it very cleverly explored her relationship with the main accuser, who was her babysitter when she was younger. There wasn't that much of an age gap between them, really, so it made it more interesting.
Like 3 or
It
4
also-
years, wasn't it? I think.
It also
Jesus
brought
Christ.
in young Robbie Coltrane and young Julie Walters, played by EastEnders former actress Lucy Speed, and I mean, it was an incredible episode. And I said before that scene with Dee was the longest for me. I know you two disagreed, but it really warmed to her in this episode. But the standout moment for me is a scene where Julie Walters shows her true colours.
Was that the
and
one
it
they
is-
watched on Gogglebox last night?
Yeah, and it is just... I've seen it 3 times now, and I'm
Wow.
just completely immersed in
Can
it.
I
think
ask
it's
Gary a question? Because we've talked
Yeah.
about this, Luke. What did you think about them doing flashbacks?
I was waiting for it in episode 1.
Okay.
Because I thought this is the kind of show where actually flashbacks will work.
I have to say, I mean, Vine of Duty, Happy Valley, National Treasure, 3 top drama. I mean, you're just watching masters of their craft at work. I really, really think this is brilliant.
What I will say about the flashbacks is it loses that sort of hint of ambiguity a little bit. You've still got it because you don't know for sure if he assaulted the babysitter or even if he assaulted his daughter. There's that insinuation.
Oh, certainly they play on both. I have to say that neither of you have really watched Twin Peaks, have you?
No,
I don't think. No, the whole point of Twin Peaks is about. Unfortunately, it turns out to be childhood abuse, and the imagery that they used in Twin Peaks was this fascination with a ceiling fan. The idea that while she was being abused, was the only thing she could focus on. And there were moments in this episode where you saw her staring at the ceiling.
The counting.
Yeah, exactly. And I got those kind of like Twin Peaks flashbacks of like, oh my goodness, and therefore that makes me think he did. Because, of course, so I don't know, but I thought that was very impressive. Obviously, it's got strong dialogue, strong acting, but some of the direction and cinematography is also outstanding.
The music
to me is
very... It's very like Utopia music. It's very like a sci-fi score, like Humans as well. I think the music is so jarring because it feels different from what you're seeing on screen. It's very obtuse, the music.
The only thing that annoys me, well, doesn't annoy me, but makes me a little bit upset, we've only got 2 more left. We're already halfway through. But Julie Walters is, I mean, Robbie Coltrane's fantastic, but Julie Walters stole that
she was brilliant.
Scene for me.
You're looking fresh.
You always pick the most beautiful ways to describe your mother.
Well and fine always sound so boring, don't they?
On which note, wonderful spread, not boring at all. Exotic, even. Thank you for making me feel so special and all that.
I know what they said about you was cruel. And I want you to be able to let that go. I don't care for the jaded act. You know I don't. This is about support. He supported you. We both have.
I'm going to put that support in quotation marks, if that's okay.
And now he needs us.
That paper said I was living some sort of hell. It said things that I'd said. It said things that... It quoted members of my support group. Did you read it?
Well, I know you were misunderstood.
But what if I wasn't, Mum? What if he did? What if he was fucking the babysitter? What if he did it to me? Because part of me just thinks that maybe that's probably the way that
You don't get to do this.
I think I can't remember, but what if I can't trust that, Mum? What if I can't trust that clean bill of health because Christina
was a stupid girl and remains one. Nothing happened between them. You didn't see them because it didn't happen.
But couldn't that be isn't that a reason? Couldn't that be the reason that I am what I am?
No. I have a good memory. And I've seen things your father didn't want me to see. Very early on, after I saw that stuff, he promised he would be honest.
You're always confessional.
At first, he tried to secrete things away. He's a weak man. But I could smell it. I could smell his lies, and I told him so. He cried, broke down, he begged forgiveness, and I told him I just wanted the truth. So then, every time he was weak, once, twice a year, he'd tell me, and I forgive him. Because he is never unfaithful in an important way, in a way that matters.
Well, that's an interesting claim to make.
But he didn't do this. None of it. He certainly never touched you. To even suggest that. You're as weak as he is. But I will not let you use him as an excuse for a life poorly led.
An excuse?
Yeah, victims. Everybody wants to be a victim these days because it makes life so much easier to explain. And yeah, if I were you, I would love the convenience of that. Unemployed, unemployable, untrustworthy, unwell, not even allowed time with your kids on your own.
Happy birthday.
Oh, what? You want pity? You? The girl they found outside Christina's yesterday? You want to get better, Dee? Get better. But don't wallow in this. In these lies, because I tell you, I can forgive anything, but I will not forgive you that. I choose to believe him.